Hello and welcome to Tactically Sound. I'm joined with my buddy Matt today, and we're going to talk about 10 highly anticipated RPGs in 2025. The first one being Avowed, and this is by Obsidian Entertainment. I loved The Outer Worlds, Matt, and I think Avowed, to me, gives off The Outer Worlds but fantasy. So it's like a smaller hub-based kind of Mass Effect-y kind of size of a game is what I'm anticipating. Have you seen anything about Avowed personally on your end?
Yeah, I've seen a couple people, you know, they get invited to these events where they get to trial the game, and they showed a little bit of footage, and it looks really cool for that first person action RPG, and almost seems like what we would want Skyrim, I mean the next Elder Scrolls, to be like in a similar lane, right? Not fully, because we want more of that Elder Scrolls universe, right? But in terms of the gameplay experience and the fun and the creativity in the RPG space, Avowed's looking like it's measuring up.
Yeah, I think Obsidian's limited budgets and scopes force them to deliver on the promise of what an RPG is at its core, because they're not going to be able to hook you in with like, and this has survival mechanics, and this has base building, and this has all these like mini games. So it's like there's not a lot of bloat there, and so if you can't put all of those extra features in, how do you sell an RPG? It's like, well, you just do what an RPG does, and so you give people like choice and consequence. You have it where there's almost this immersive sim like quality that I think they're going to play into more with this. I think you get that in Baldur's Gate 3 from what I hear when you talk about it, which is like, how do you want to solve this quest line? Like, are you going to go in guns blazing? Are you going to find like a back way? Are you going to kiss up to a faction and maybe just do a charisma check and not even need to go in at all? You know, like those kinds of things are what I think Obsidian can do to sell a game like this. So yeah, and then the scope of knowing like it's gonna be 25 to 50 hours, that's exactly the length I like for a good story. So I'm excited
to also get back into a fantasy game in the first person, because you know, the first time I played Elder Scrolls, man, that was so cool to finally play something not in third person and still feeling like you're hitting hard and enjoying the combat. So just to see what that's going to be like in 2025 is really exciting.
Yeah. I hope they nail the first person combat. For me, I'm not super picky. The Outer Worlds wasn't like mind-blowing with the combat. I think what I've seen later, I won't spoil anything, but I do think they're figuring it out. So let's talk about Elden Ring Nightraigne. You were saying this maybe technically isn't an RPG. Elden Ring is an RPG, but if you're an RPG fan, what should you know about Nightraigne? What's the vibe you're getting from the gameplay? How is it different than the base game?
So don't quote me on this. This is what I've just been speculating and seeing going around online right now, is that Nightraigne is a roguelike. So you're dropped into like a pseudo Limgrave, or you know, it lands in between's map that is based off of the map in Elden Ring, and you are paired with like, I think, two other Tarnished, so two other online players, and like your job is to go through that map, kill a bunch of enemies, level up, get some new loot, and ultimately survive, I think, 3 days fighting 3 different bosses. I don't know, maybe it's one boss. It sounded like there was 3 days. I think it's like
there's a boss each night, and then there's one massive boss at the end.
That's what it was. Yes. And so this could be a really cool opportunity to experience more of what I got to experience with seamless co-op mod on PC. So, but for more of the console users who aren't, or maybe not just console, but PC players that aren't so tech savvy and wanting to mod their Elden Ring. So this could be a good way to get together with your friends and get a little bit of that taste of what seamless co-op would be, which I've always been saying is so sick, and I really want to do seamless co-op with you, Spencer. It just changes Elden Ring in a good way. It really feels like we are Legolas, Aragorn, Gimli going on that adventure together throughout Middle Earth, but a little bit more darker, I'd say.
I love that. The next one we have is the First Berserker Khazan. So I saw this in the last year's Game Awards, and I think like Summer Games Fest. I think this one, what we were saying together when we were like going through the list, is that it kind of has a Darksiders vibe. It's like that gothic, comic booky, Dark Horse, McFarlane kind of vibe where it's a brutal world, but it's cartoony. I just think the aesthetic of it is what is the hook for me personally. It has that quality that I don't know if it's quite cell shaded, but it reminds me of the cinematics you get in games like Metaphor or even like Fire Emblem, where just, I don't know, that look. Castlevania does it too.
Yes.
And I'm just drawn to it. Feels hand drawn in a way, almost like a little bit 2D with even though it's like a 3D world. So the art style to me is what hooks me in for this one.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see games like this where the art style is definitely more important than necessarily like fidelity, looking like real life, right? And this can totally add to moods of games, convey emotion better, and just be a little bit more interesting, and an escape for people, right? I think this could be cool. What I got from the gameplay trailer I was seeing from this, which was pretty cool, was it kind of reminded me a little bit of Black Myth Wukong, in terms of it's an action RPG, but also there's some skill components to the combat as well. And that could be really fun, especially if you enjoyed playing Black Myth Wukong. I would be definitely looking out for the First Berserker to see if that's going to be a one worthwhile to pick up for you guys.
Yeah, the next one is Solasta II. So this came on my radar because of a YouTuber named Splattercat Gaming. Like,
I don't know this one.
Dude, he plays the coolest games, and when he gets hooked on something, I try to pay more attention if he like streams it or covers it multiple times.
Okay.
And so Solasta 2 is one, or Solasta 1 is one I tried on console. I was like, this just doesn't feel like a console game. Sometimes these indie titles will make their way onto consoles, but it's like you lose something. And I felt that way with Solasta 1. Just like, I was like, I can't picture myself sitting here. Now, what's cool about the Yeti Den is we're starting to talk to more developers, and I talked to the team behind Passageway of the Ancients, and they made a very old school RPG in the style of like a Baldur's Gate, and I was playing that yesterday on my computer, and it was starting to click, the idea of like real-time action with pause in a CRPG, which I believe Baldur's Gate 3 does as well. Does it? Like, can you keep things in real time if you wanted to, or is it purely turn-based?
No, there's parts of the game where you can keep things real time. It might trigger a turn-based, but then you can toggle it off and continue through that dungeon.
So that's how I perceive this like genre of Dungeons and Dragons CRPGs, where it's like you could kind of brute force it into feeling real time or brute force it into feeling turn-based. I've always been more turn-based with these types of games like Divinity Original Sin 2, where it's like I want it to feel like a tactical RPG. So this one they describe as a turn-based tactical RPG, but they are like specifically saying it's based off of the systems reference document for Dungeons and Dragons, so the 5e rule set. So it's like a purist Dungeons and Dragons CRPG style game, and it looks like they're leveling up the graphics and the art style to capture like a little bit more of that Divinity look and feel, and maybe even a little bit of that Baldur's Gate feel.
I almost get like a Dragon Age, or like when you were describing it, I was like, maybe Dragon Age Origins, like the first one, going back to the first one. It's cool.
Yes. Yeah, and I think Dragon Age Origins, don't quote me, but I think some of those team members might have done Baldur's Gate 1. But yeah, so if you wanted another indie game to check out to get more accustomed to the genre and you played Baldur's Gate 3, then I think this is one you should definitely have your radar on. And I'm slowly getting my like grasp on how these CRPGs, like where the hook is when you're playing a game like this. So I'm excited. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see a lot of CRPGs in my future for 2025. But let's talk about the Outer Worlds 2. Matt, have you finished the Outer Worlds 1 yet? Are we going to get that? Are we going to get that in the backlog? Get that out of the backlog?
Yeah. So I really feel like I've only played maybe the first. I don't even know if I can say I played a third of the game yet. I've gotten off the first world onto the second world, and
sick.
That's when the game really starts opening up. So I don't know why I stopped playing. I was having a great time with it. Something else must have just pulled my my attention at that time. So I do need this is a good game. Just because I stopped playing doesn't mean it's a back. This is a really cool game, The Outer Worlds. Yeah, so are you excited for you beat it? You did all the DLC. You can find this all on your channel on the Yeti Den. Really good videos. But so that makes me is this one of your top games you're looking forward to this year?
This is, oh my god, yeah, like when Mo and I were watching we just fast forwarded through the Game Awards and we're looking for announcements that we were specifically looking for, and when the Outer Worlds 2 came out, like we both paused and watched because we both love this world and the writing. It has that Stargate SG-1 quality that we were talking about before we recorded, where it's like, it's not your McDonald's, it's your like more mellow, like we have like these local burger joints in California. It's like Norm's and North's, and like you have all these different styles of burger joints where they're not packed with as much sodium and flavor as a fast food. That's how I describe Outer Worlds. It's like, it's a more nuanced, cozy, laid back feel. You're not going in it because say that again?
Healthier.
Yeah, it's a healthier RPG where you're not gonna burn 150 hours grinding in this game. Like you're not bloated.
It's not bloated.
Characters. It's not bloated. And maybe the highs aren't as high as like your favorite RPG, but I just think like the characters, and when you're talking to people, there's a cohesiveness in the writing and the voice acting that makes the world come to life in the way that a TV show comes to life. Like maybe it's not as immersive as Skyrim or Baldur's Gate, but it feels like you're watching a program where you love the characters. And I think you should definitely play it before the Outer Worlds 2, because the world has all of these in-jokes and all of these like references that I think you will get more out of the sequel when you play it. And the sequel looks like they've improved a lot. Like it doesn't look very different than the first one. So that may be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you feel. But for me, that's a great thing because it just looks like they enhanced it a little bit. So I'm really excited about where this is going and the fact that it's coming out so soon.
I gotta finish this game soon, Spencer, because it could be one of my new top favorite space RPGs out there. Yes, especially with how I'm feeling a little bit with Starfield. It's like a love-hate relationship with Starfield. So I gotta try Outer Worlds.
Yes. And then you were saying you haven't really heard much about Titan Quest, and I was like, ooh, I can't wait to tell you. So the next one is Titan Quest. Matt, have you played Age of Empires?
Oh, yes. I love Age of Empires.
So this is originally from the team that did Age of Empires and I believe Age of Mythology. So imagine
I love that game too.
Okay, so imagine that, but Diablo-like.
Whoa. Okay. I'm there. I'm there. That sounds crazy.
It has that like fantasy, again, cozy feel, and it's great in co-op. The only problem is the original on the Switch, it's like buggy. So Mo and I would play together and have a blast and be like, all right, we're gonna go take out this giant, mythical creature. We're like getting all our gear and then we go fight it, and like the fight's going well and then it crashes. So this is a game that needs more support. It's a retro title. Yeah, it would be better on PC. It would be better probably on like PS4, maybe like on Xbox. But the fact that they're making a sequel is really exciting, because it's kind of like, imagine, like, you know how beautiful Assassin's Creed Odyssey looks, that like Greek mythology kind of blues and beiges. Like, I feel like they're gonna nail that part of it, but it's gonna have that coziness of like a Baldur's Gate top-down perspective, and then it's gonna have that addictive feel of like a Diablo. So I'm really I'm hopeful that they can nail this, and this is one that's like definitely on my radar. I would love to play through it.
I'm gonna have to check that one out too. That's pretty cool.
Why don't you tell us about the next one, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2?
Yes. Oh, my cousin and I have been texting each other back and forth about this one. We couldn't believe that we slept on the first one, because like the first time we both played it, right? We were kind of a little bit unimpressed with we didn't like how difficult some of the mechanics were. We were enjoying how heavy hitting maybe God of War, 2018, that kind of style. But now becoming a little bit more of a seasoned gamer with harder games like Souls-likes and stuff. I went back to Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's not as hard as I made it out to be, and I'm really enjoying all of the RPG mechanics in this game and just life simulator stuff, because other RPGs don't, it's almost like we can expect what to get out of an RPG now these days. I think Kingdom Come Deliverance, Warhorse Studios did so well at kind of breaking out of that box, and kind of pushing the boundaries, sort of like how Larian Studios did with Baldur's Gate 3. So, I'm watching, I was watching this new video, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, of how now you can take your food that, perishes and becomes trash quickly if it's raw, but now you can like smoke it or dry the herbs.
Ooh,
and
that's
it
awesome.
lightens the weight. It lightens the weight awesome. In your pack, and you can still use it long term. And so like these sort of like small mechanics, I think, are going to make a big difference for people to get immersed into the world and just really enjoy their time with the game. So I'm really, this is probably one of my top games I'm looking forward to this coming year.
Yeah, the inventory management kind of mini game, Fallout 3 did it really well, where it's like if you get two similar weapons, you blend them together and it lightens the load, and I think it also increases the quality of the now blended weapon. Anything that you could do to make inventory management more fun and more a part of the RPG experience, I think always makes the game more addictive.
Yeah. And this is just the surface, Spencer. There's like deeper mechanics. I want you guys to just do your research, look at the videos and see it for yourself. It's really cool. Check it out.
And then the next one, tell us about Dynasty Warriors Origins. Why should we be excited about Dynasty Warriors Origins? I've never played one of these games.
Yeah, so normally in the past, Dynasty Warriors has been just your epic warrior from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, that famous novel, and you can pick like one out of like, gosh, there's probably like 100 different characters now, and you go through these different levels and upgrade your character, give them new gear, and go through the story, and there's a ton of replay value because there's so many characters with different fighting styles, and that's what it's about. It's about the action, the fantasy of being this epic warrior that can take out 1,000 men in a single battle, right? And so it plays on that fantasy. But now what's really cool about this one is you're given your own original character, this new original character, and it has more RPG mechanics, and the map and the enemy UI feels more alive than ever. And so I am really excited to enjoy also not just that, but the tactics in this game. There's more tactics. It almost seems like they're combining Dynasty Warriors Empires, which is more tactical approach to Dynasty Warriors genre, into an actual main main title. And so I'm really excited to see how the greater RPG mechanics, but then also tactics are now involved with this new Dynasty Warriors Origins game. Yep, I'm definitely gonna get this one.
So the next one we have is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So this is a turn-based RPG. It looks really slick. I think both of us have been keeping our eye on it. It kind of sells itself if you see the trailer. Like, you'll know right away if you want to play this title. If you like Final Fantasy, I think this is the one.
Exactly. Or if you guys played Metaphor is it Metaphor ReZero
Refantasia?
Refantasia. Metaphor, and I think that's the same company that made Persona, right?
Persona, right.
They have this dynamic camera angle and approach to their turn-based strategy mechanics. So I definitely see the inspiration from those titles into this game, where it's just more dynamic and fun to watch. So if you're like, want to get into turn-based games, but you're just kind of bored with the how the turn-based combat plays out visually, this is probably going to make you feel like you're more immersed in and more heavy hitting. I also got a little bit of, what is it called? Either Paper Mario or Sea of Stars, where you are doing some turn-based, but then you have a little bit more control or rhythm control with how effective your attacks are. And so that's going to be pretty interesting to see with Expedition 33 as well.
I'm really excited for that one. And the last one we have, do you want to go ahead and tell us about this one?
Oh, yo, dude. I'm a huge Ghost of Tsushima fan. It's one of the games I always keep on my PlayStation because I always go back to it and play. I'm so excited, not just for the story, but for even the online modes from Ghost of Yōtei. I can't believe we're getting this game soon. This is going to be... If I could put a number one on this list, Spencer, it would be Ghost of Yōtei. I just love how in the first game, the blend of the action with the stealth, I just think this is what I missed from Assassin's Creed back in the day. And I wish Assassin's Creed evolved in the same way as Ghost of Yōtei. So I'm not really thinking about playing the new Japanese Assassin's Creed at all. This is the samurai game you want to play. This one right here.
Sick. Well, that's our list. Let us know if there's any games that we missed that we should keep an eye out for in 2025. But Matt, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram or YouTube at JumbyJumboa, JumbyJumBwa. I'll see you guys there.
Sick. And yeah, you guys are already here on the Eddie Den, so go ahead and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. Later.
Peace.
Bye.